All right, we're going to be making a call today directly with the seller. The agent ended up giving me the seller's phone number so we can have a conversation. We presented an offer. This is right now, it is May 2nd, 2024. We submitted an offer back in November of 2023 on this property, and it's still not selling. There's an issue with the unpermitted garage that's causing issues for retail buyers on the market, on Zillow, on the MLS, preventing people from purchasing the property. He's still trying to list it. He's stuck on his number. We presented an offer to take over his 3% interest rate, and then he has about $150K of equity that we are going to make payments on and give him a sizable down payment on. Our offer was to give him $15,000 down on his equity. He's wanting 50. So this phone call is going to be geared towards how can we find a middle ground in terms of that down payment structure and how I can benefit from that, as well as really create a win-win-win for the seller, get the agent paid for him cultivating this and bringing me in to help, provide resources to the seller and get myself a property, So let's see how that goes. This is Landon. How's it going, sir?
Good. How's it doing? It's going. Sorry I didn't pay you back yesterday. I was like, shit.
It's all good, dude. It's all good. I was pretty smoked yesterday. It was a big day. I host a real estate meetup every Thursday evening, and so that carried on into the night and whatnot. But it sounds like you were having more fun than me at the racquetball court, though. Where do you typically play?
I play all around town. It just really depends on what we have going on and if we're what tournaments, if I'm going to do an outdoor or indoor tournament where I'm going to play. So
oh wow, you compete? Okay.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
It's fun.
That's great, man. Yeah,
you
ain't you ain't lying there, man. I know. I'm actually about ready to take off. I'm playing in a golf tournament today. Golf is my sport, so I'm playing in a golf tournament today and tomorrow. It's a member guest tournament out at Phoenix Country Club, and
the Phoenix Country Club, right on.
Yeah, pretty cool. I'm excited for that. It'll be a good time, man. Perfect weather right now, so.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
Yeah, way cool, man. Well, I'm glad we were able to connect and just chat here. No, super interested. You have a beautiful property. I actually, funny enough, I own a property just down 19th Ave from you that I operate as an Airbnb short-term rental. And
nice.
That's when I saw this list of your listing, I was like, man, this is a beautiful property. I would love to kind of figure out a solution here for me to buy it because I own something nearby. So sounds like you've been having a headache with it in terms of the knucklehead City of Phoenix permitting process and whatnot.
It turned into worse than I thought. So that's why I was, just on the fence with what I would do, because I do have a couple other rental properties.
Cool.
But it's just a pool is the only thing that's keeping me from renting it, because I don't have a fence around it, and I really don't want to put one.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of my big thing.
Yeah, no, totally get it, man. That's the biggest liability.
Yeah.
We had to put fences around ours. I mean, obviously, and as well as too, we have the ring cameras that overlook the pools too. And sometimes our Airbnb guests put up a stink of, why are you recording us? And I always have to tell them, like, trust me, I'm not watching that camera if I don't have to. And I have other things with my day and my life. I could care less what you're doing back there. So long as you don't, break the rules or someone falls in the pool and doesn't come back out. Yeah. I don't care.
Yeah, I hear you.
So, okay. Well, yeah, like I said, I'm super interested. We submitted an offer through Ben. He's been amazing through the whole process and whatnot. But it sounds like we're a little bit apart in terms of the terms a little bit. And so I'm hoping we can connect and kind of figure out if we can come to a middle ground in some sense and whatnot. I'm not a guy here to try and car sales you. So if I'm a square peg for a round hole and it doesn't work, I'm not offended. I'm unemotional towards it and whatnot, and I wish you luck. But if there's a way we can figure something out, I'd love to be a resource and get this burden behind you. So it's my problem and not yours.
I don't even see that at all. Because I would either figure out that I know the garage permit's going to be super easy. I have a couple things to do, but when I purchased the house, I had added that third bedroom. And the only thing that kind of scares me about that, the third bathroom. The only thing that scares me about that is having to dig it up to show where the connections are and to make sure that the connections were deep enough. And that's just what threw me off. That's just what turned me off to finishing the project.
Yep.
I have the plans. I have everything done. I have the City of Phoenix information. I have all that stuff, the permit number and everything.
Yep.
So it's moving along, but of course they have to, they just can't look at one area. They have to, look at the entire the big picture of everything. So that's what happened with that. And the bathroom would probably be easiest to just tear out to avoid that. So, and I'm not really too opposed to that because I'm quite handy. So, I mean, it isn't anything I'm not afraid to do, and that's why I'm not desperate in any sense, and that's why I had told Ben with, the only thing that, there was just two issues I had, not these two issues, but just two questions I had was the maturity date was one of them.
Yep.
So that one was 30 years. That's it. And I know that you probably would never hold on to it that long.
Never.
But I don't want to pigeonhole myself into knowing that.
Yep.
So that's one thing that I wanted to go through, and then as well as the Class 8 close, that's another thing that I was wanting to discuss as well. So
yeah, let's talk that through. Yeah, so in terms of... Go ahead. Sorry.
No, other than that, I just don't see where it's... I don't understand, because I've sold a few homes. Where in this contract does it state that the current payments for the first mortgage would be made, and then if there's any, let's say taxes went up or something, who's going to be responsible for that in the time that this is possibly happening?
Yeah, I'm responsible for everything. So at close of escrow, the property deeds over to my LLC. So Flower LKM LLC is probably what I'll put it into. I'm not sure. I have a few properties in that one. I may have to create a new entity, but it doesn't much matter. The principle still applies. So I'm responsible. I'm going to replace the entire insurance policy that's on the home. So I'll have a brand new policy. We just had to transfer one. We just purchased a home up in Vancouver, Washington that we turned into an all-women sober living home. And we purchased it. Oh. This one was a little bit different than yours, where they didn't have literally any equity. They were going to write a check for $20,000 to sell their house. They were just going through divorce and kind of an interesting situation. And so it's a VA loan, and so we took over the payments. We actually just made their payment for May, and then we swapped out their policy with our own policy, as well as changed it to a landlord policy versus an owner occupied. So we're responsible for all of that, as well as property taxes if they go up, if they go down. Right. Like my property just down the road from yours just went down. They actually cut in half because we got designated as a historic district. So I benefit from the property taxes going down. Now my payment's actually only like $2,000 a month versus the $2,400 it started out as. So that's great. But so I'm responsible for everything: tenants, termites, toilets, everything related to the property taxes, so on and so forth is my obligation and my responsibility. And that's all written out as it relates with what I call the two security instruments that I hire an attorney to draft up. And that's written up in the all-inclusive deed of trust that we draft for you, as well as the promissory note, that I'm formally obligated to the responsibility of those payments and any changes set forth. They use all the attorney language. But basically anything associated with ups and downs, I'm responsible for. So, yeah, I mean, that's really it there. And then in regards to the maturity date, you hit the nail on the head. Is I set up the maturity date as 30 years from an amortization schedule standpoint to keep that payment at a place to you from a monthly standpoint, such that I can still turn this thing into a rental and at least break even. I'm not looking to be, again, a car salesman and I've never purchased a property like this and felt and walked away like, ooh, I got him. It's more so I'm trying to purchase properties such that I can get really three things. Number one isn't even cash flow. It's appreciation. Second is depreciation, and then third is cash flow. So I'm okay with, really breaking even and putting a couple $100 towards, if the water heater goes out or the AC unit or the pool needs resurfaced or whatever it may be. I'm not looking to make $1,000 a month off of, this transaction. You would see that clear as day. You probably even wouldn't sell it to me. So those are my biggest things in terms of it. So I always set up the amortization on a 30-year schedule to keep that payment at a place that I can still break even and put a couple $100 away. But the reality is that, I mean, you're an investor, I'm an investor. I'm going to either do two things. I'm going to, in around year 7, year 8, I'm going to look at the interest rates and I'm going to see, are we at a place where I could refinance this property, cash out everything, take away some money, and then still cash flow on the property and have a whole new loan and walk away with a little bit of a tax-free refinance? Or is the market at a place such that I've appreciated enough, which I think your home will. I think it's in a beautiful location. I think the area is going to get better. I think it can rather it can only go up around that area, and as well as the market too. That I would call a real estate agent and sell the home at year 8, year 9, year 10, and depending on where the market's at, and then sell that property and take the proceeds from that and get a multifamily or another Airbnb or something like that. So my hold period is really that 8 to 10 year window. And so I never plan on holding it. I'm not an old grandpa that I'm going to hold on to that property for, 20, 30 years. That's never my plan with any of these. I have one Airbnb that I'm going to hold on to and give to my daughter when she turns 18 as kind of her college savings. But with everything else we have, the rest of my portfolio, it's a matter of picking the right time to refinance if interest rates allow me to do so, which right now we're not, or the market, after the election season or the next election season goes up such that the home appreciates to where I can pull out some equity and then go out and buy another property or refinance it. So that's the spiel on that. There is no intent to hold the property for a long period of time. So.
Okay, so then verbally, I hear you and I'm loud and clear, so how do we put that in paper?
Yeah, what we can do is, and how I'd want to structure it on my end is what we can do is put a 15-year balloon on the contract. And what that's going to force me to do is around years, at the latest, at years 10, 11, or 12, to refinance or sell the property, because I'm not going to come up against the window of paying off everything to your time frame. The hard stop. Exactly. Yeah, Yep. So yeah, we can draft that up and put that in the purchase contract. That's easy.
Okay. So in year 7 or 5 plus, whatever, because I'm kind of feeling the same thing you are, especially in that area, and that's why I'm really not in a desperate need at this point. Yeah. Because I know what's going to happen in that area, and so you're probably going to make a ton of money. So with that, now the final question is going to be the cash at close. Okay. So that's where I'm having the most heartburn. Okay. Just to start with. I mean, I know that, at the end, of course, there was that 148 or whatever the amount is.
The equity or whatever?
Oh, yeah, the 145. Yeah, the seller carryback financing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 145. So where are you at there?
Yeah. So in regards to that, really what it comes down to, and this is a long spiel and whatnot, but what it comes down to there is, looking at how much, what I call, gross equity at your list price. I'm going to pay Ben his commission. And so, and I'm going to waive my side. So you're going to capture, if I came with an agent, you're not going to have to pay my agent. So really you're selling your property at your list price, that 548 or 549 or whatever it is. And so I look at, from your mortgage balance, wherever that lands, I looked at the amortization schedule and kind of came up with a ballpark, but I haven't seen your latest mortgage statement to kind of get an idea. But I looked at kind of rough numbers of where your, what I call a gross equity standpoint is. And so that was the total. And I feel like it was around 160 or something like that, or around there. Gross, that's before agent commissions, before closing costs, which I would cover and I would pay as well. And then I put a down payment toward that. And so, the way that I look at these transactions is really what I call the entry fee. And the entry fee is comprised of cash to seller, your agent's commission, closing costs, my internal costs, so transaction coordinator, I have a TC, my marketing costs, my holding costs, as well as all of that kind of stuff, because my intent with your property actually is to do either two things: a midterm rental, so like 30 days plus or something like that, or a rent by the room model. I have a colleague of mine that's having tremendous success across the 17 doing a rent by the room model, that he has a property manager that does that. And so I would need to furnish the property. So I'm going to have to spend between 15 to 17K to furnish the property, as well as probably put a little bit more money into the backyard on various things, some landscaping, any other little improvements, as well as the cost. I would be the one that would go through and pay the costs and deal with the bathroom and the living or the garage and getting everything buttoned up and permitted, because I don't want to run into the same issues that you're experiencing as it relates to selling it with that headache. I'm the guy that I want it to be a nice, smooth process. And so I'd rather put the money toward it. So for me, you start stacking all those nickels and dimes, cash to seller, cash to agent, closing costs, taxes, TC fee, marketing fee, holding fee, furnishing fee, permitting fee, all those little things. Like I'm likely going to be all in around 75, 80K, truthfully, after all said and done. And you're a part of that puzzle piece, no doubt. But at some point, there's a lot of those are fixed costs. Like I have and you have no control over closing costs and escrow fees and all those things, as well as permitting and furnishings. Sure, I can get an IKEA bed, but all those things. But I mean, ultimately, that's just so you know, kind of how I look at these transactions and how I look at these acquisitions is all those things. So really what it comes down to in full transparency is like, I have on the contract giving Ben, I think it was a 10K flat fee.
Yeah, 10 grand.
Yeah, and then I had a 15K down payment toward your equity. That puts me in a position such that I still have liquid capital to be able to do the other things that I need to do in regards to the permitting as well as the furnishing. Now, obviously, there's a little bit of flexibility toward that. I'll be blunt and honest. There's no way I can get near that 50K down for you in that regard. Only because I have the other fees associated. Now, you and I could probably go to Ben and say, hey, would you be able to come down a little bit on that, and I can put more money in your pocket? But that I don't know even if that hair puts us any closer, and I just don't want to upset you, ruin the relationship with Ben. You know what I mean?
No, it's all good. No, good. So no, it looks like we're done. So that's fine. It's all good.
I was thinking, why not just drop the price like 30K, 40K and do a fire sale to get you that,
Well, I'm not in that big of a. I mean, like if anything, I'll just rent it and have someone sign a waiver for the pool and just be done. I mean,
yeah, fair.
That's going to be my final. So yeah, and you're absolutely 100% right. I mean, I might end up just losing the bathroom. I mean, I'm thinking I might lose the bathroom because I know in like 5 or some years, I would like to move back to the home.
There you go.
Could. But I'm just waiting to, I just moved into my parents' home and just got done rehabbing it. So I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with that now.
Yep.
So, yeah. So, no, I think we're good. But I do appreciate your time and I appreciate the offer. And
of course,
just couldn't pass at the moment.
Yeah, I totally get it, man. I mean, if I guess, is there a world where there's a number in between you and I that I could figure out a way for us to be closer? Or are you hard set in that 40 to 50K range that you need down?
I'm kind of hard set on that just because I know it's everything in the house is new, and so I mean you're talking water heater, you're talking AC, you're not gonna have any of that. The pool was just redone, so
yep.
I just did it a couple years ago, so it's a pebble sheens, good shit. I haven't maintained it, but it's all good. So no, I know what the product is, I know where.
Yeah, totally.
What I put into it. So no.
Let me ask you this: if it sounds like that's your number one. Our number one holdup. If I'm able to get to or closer to your number, is there a world where the remaining portion of your equity can just sit as a silent second until I refinance the property? So I don't have that payment overhead, but I give you the bigger down payment that you need to do your thing? Or is that a world where we could...
You're talking about the 400 whatever a month?
Yeah, so the remaining equity, what would that be? Like 130 or something after. If I gave you between 40 and 50K down, so that would put you at around 110K left of equity. Would you be able to let that sit just as a silent second so there's no additional payments? And so then when I refinance in time frame...
Yeah, no, because I even thinking that would be my disincentive to do this type of loan. Just that little carrot was kind of something I thought, well, what the hell, it's extra $400 a month to kind of screw around with. So, that was kind of the extra carrot on that. So no, I don't really see that as...
Yeah, no, I'm trying to figure out a way that we can find something here, because if the higher I go up on that down payment, obviously that payment goes down. So honestly, if that payment would probably go down to like $200 a month if I were up near that 400, 500, 5 or 40 or 50K down. And so, it's just one of those things, you know what I mean? As the more you give down, the less the payment you get, you know, like versus if we were like at like $0 down, you would get, you know, a $600-700 a month payment, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just kind of, I don't think we're going to make it.
Okay. No worries, sir. Hey, no harm, no foul. We at least had the conversation. And listen, if things change in the future, I'd love to chat and see if I can be a resource. And I know you have some other rental properties and whatnot, as well as too, if you ever are interested in, you know, I'm doing about 4 to 6 of these a month. And so if you're in the market to ever buy any more rental properties, I'd love to stay in touch.
All right, perfect. Thanks, Landon.
Awesome, sir. Thanks, Tommy. Have a good rest of your Friday.
Have a good day.
Bye.
You too. Goodbye.
There you go. I mean, those are the negotiations right there, trying to figure out. In the comments below, you guys, what could I have improved on? What are some other options or some offers that maybe I didn't produce or didn't offer the seller that maybe I could have, that would have incentivized him? He didn't seem motivated. He's talking about moving back into it. He's talking about renting it out, all of these different things. And the home is beautiful. But I came up with like an option of giving him a balloon. I rarely even mention the word balloon. It gave me the chills even saying the word balloon, but I've offered that to him. That's usually my last straw. I usually never have to get there. We got there. We went past it. He was okay with it. He accepted that. And then cash to seller was his biggest thing. Is I was at 15K down. He was closer to wanting 50K down. And so I went through my explanation as to why I need that cash to seller to be a little bit lower. And he wasn't buying it. He wasn't digging it. He wants his cake and he wants to eat it too. And so my final proposal was like, hey, I'll give you your 50K down, but the remaining portion of equity, it just needs to sit silent. So meaning no payments toward that. It's just going to be a lien against the property that I don't have to make payments towards until I refinance the home or sell the home. Then that gets paid off. That reduces my overall payment, which means my cash flow goes up as a rental, if that makes sense. So put in the comments down below where you thought I could improve. What I did well. What was your biggest nugget and your takeaway in that negotiation? Was it my tonality? Was it the way I spoke with him? Did I talk too much? I usually do. What was it? Thank you. Like and subscribe.